All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest, trickiest questions in any career. How in the world do you know when it's time to leave your job? Staying too long can be just as dangerous as leaving too soon. So let's find that sweet spot together. Okay, think about this for a second. This quote basically takes all that old advice about company loyalty and flips it completely on its head. It's saying the real risk isn't job hopping anymore, it's getting comfortable. We're going to break down exactly why this is the new reality. So how did we get to this point? I mean, how can loyalty, something that sounds so good, actually end up hurting your career? Well, it all starts with what we call the loyalty trap, and why the rules our parents played by are frankly broken.
To really see what I mean, let me tell you a quick story about a guy named Rohit. He was the model employee, right? 8 super dedicated years at one company. But when he got laid off, he found something shocking. Recruiters didn't see 8 years of loyalty. They saw a red flag. They wondered, can this guy even adapt to something new?
This right here shows the seismic shift we're talking about. On the left, that's the old world. 40 years, one company, you get the gold watch, you retire. But on the right, that's today. It's not about blind loyalty anymore, it's about strategic growth. Your career is this dynamic, zigzagging journey, not some straight ladder to the top. And that brings us to a really crucial point. If you get too comfortable, if you stick with that old model, well, that comfort zone has a pretty high price. Let's break down the actual dangers of staying put for too long. There are basically 4 big risks when you stay in one place for too long. First, your skills start to get stale. You just stop learning new things. Second, as we saw with Rohit, recruiters start to get skeptical about you. Third, you get what's called an institutional mindset. You start thinking your company's way of doing things is the only way. And finally, the one that really hurts, your salary just flatlines. This really gets inside a recruiter's head. When they see a resume with, say, 10 years at one company, this is the exact question that pops into their mind. They start worrying if you'll be able to keep up, if you'll learn their software, if you'll fit into their fast-paced culture. Your loyalty, ironically, starts to look like a liability. But let's be honest, of all these dangers, the one you can feel the most is the financial one. It's this slow, quiet problem that you might not even notice year to year, but over a decade, it becomes a huge issue. Your salary just stops growing. Look at this chart. It tells the whole story, doesn't it? The stayer gets those small 3% raises every year. But the mover, they make a few smart jumps, getting a 15 or 20% bump each time. And after 10 years, that gap between them isn't just a little bit. It's absolutely massive. Okay, so if staying too long is a trap, what are you supposed to do? This isn't about just jumping ship every year. No, it's about a new way of thinking. Let's call it the 3-year checkpoint. This is the new sweet spot, the perfect time to stop and really think about your career path. This timeline just makes so much sense. Think about any job you've had. Year 1, you're just learning the ropes, right? Trying not to mess up. Then years 2 and 3, you hit your groove. You're good at your job, people know who you are, you're making a real impact. And that's exactly why. Right after that peak, it's the perfect time to ask, okay, what's next? So what do you do at this checkpoint? It's not an automatic alarm to quit, not at all. Instead, think of it like an annual health check for your career. And to do it right, you've got to ask yourself 5 really important, really honest questions. Okay, question 1. Has your role actually grown? Or are you basically just doing the same work you were doing 2 years ago, maybe just a little better? Be honest. Is the challenge still there? Second question is all about your impact. It's one thing to have great ideas, but is anyone listening? Do you feel like your skills are being put to good use? Or are you just spinning your wheels, feeling like your contributions don't really matter? Number 3, who's in your corner? Because you can't grow in a vacuum. Do you have people who are guiding you? Even more important, do you have sponsors? People who will fight for you and put your name forward for those big career-changing opportunities. All right, time to look outside yourself. Your growth is tied to the company's growth. Is the business expanding? Is it launching new things? Is it creating new roles? Because a rising tide lifts all boats, right? But you can't go anywhere if the boat itself is stuck. And finally, number 5. This one cuts right to the chase. Sure, maybe you got a tiny raise or a new title, but is your actual responsibility growing? Are you managing more people, a bigger budget, making tougher decisions, or is it just the same job with a fancier name? Now, if you answered no to a bunch of those questions, that's a pretty clear signal. But hold on, this isn't a simple if this then that formula. we have to talk about the exceptions, because there are absolutely times when staying right where you are is the smartest move you can make. So when should you stay? Well, you should definitely stay if your plate is getting bigger, in a good way. More people, a bigger budget, more important decisions. You should stay if you're able to move around inside the company, say from the marketing team over to the product team. And for sure you should stay if you keep getting new projects that are so different, they completely reset your learning curve. A great way to think about it is like this. Making a big internal move can feel just like changing jobs, but without having to find the new coffee machine or learn a whole new set of names. You get that fresh challenge, that new learning curve, all under the same roof. So, where does this all leave us? The old playbook is gone. This new world demands that you be the CEO of your own career. It's not about just keeping your head down and working hard anymore. It's about looking up, looking around, and making smart, conscious choices. If you remember one thing from all this, let it be this. We're all so scared of making the wrong move that we end up making no move at all. But in today's world, doing nothing is the biggest risk. The real danger is waking up one day, years from now, and realizing you let your career just fade away. So now it's your turn. I really want you to take a minute and answer those 5 questions for yourself. Be brutally honest, because at the end of the day, it's your career, it's your call. So what's the answer? Is it time for you to stay, or is it time for you to move?